So now that we've graphed sine and cosine, we're going to focus on the other four functions, okay? I'm going to start out by showing you the graphs of tangent and cotangent. Now again, the shape of them is not that difficult to remember. Just a couple of other things that we're going to go over to help you, I guess to help clarify the differences between them, okay? So let's start out with tangent x. Again, think of this scale as being pi over 2. So that's 1 pi over 2, 2 pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, and so on. Same thing in the other direction, negative pi over 2. You'll notice that tangent and cotangent look like cubics. They look like cubics. The difference is they approach an asymptote instead of going to the right forever. But these cubics keep recurring one after another, okay? Now, the period of the tangent and cotangent functions is simply pi, and you can find the period just by going from one asymptote to the next. You can see that they're 2 pi over 2 apart, both for tangent and cotangent. So the period is a little bit smaller. It'll complete a cycle in half the amount of time. Domain now is not all real numbers anymore. You'll notice tangent has asymptotes at odd multiples of pi over 2, and cotangent has asymptotes at multiples of pi, so negative 2 pi, negative pi, 0 pi, and 2 pi, and so on. And then the zeros are switched. Tangent has zeros at multiples of pi, whereas cotangent has zeros at odd multiples of pi over 2. So we can, the vertical asymptotes can be written as x is k pi over 2, where k is an odd integer in that case. So anyway, but if you just say odd multiples of pi over 2, that's fine also. The range is all real numbers, down forever, up forever, okay? The key points we will discuss. Don't worry about those so much. We'll talk about how to get those. I don't want you to memorize them. And then we're going to graph transformations, okay? The other difference is they're not waves, so they don't have an amplitude. A is still a stretch. It's going to stretch the cubics out and make them look a little steeper, but it's not amplitude. The other difference is period. Instead of taking 2 pi divided by b, because the period of the parent function is only pi, we're only going to do pi over b now for both. Now secant and cosecant look like a bunch of parabolas. All right. So once again, using a scale of pi over 2, how are they different? Well, we're back to a period of 2 pi now, which makes sense. They're the reciprocals of sine and cosine, so they should have the same period as sine and cosine. Secant, like tangent, has asymptotes at odd multiples of pi over 2, while cosecant, like cotangent, has asymptotes at multiples of pi. They don't have any zeros at all. Okay, they're the reciprocal of sine and cosine. Remember, sine cosine looks like this. It's the reciprocal of secant. And notice how the reciprocal kind of looks compared to that. And same thing here with sine and cosecant, the reciprocals. Gosh, I'm doing bad here. But you get the idea. Sine and cosine are the reciprocals of these. The range is negative infinity to negative 1, and then there's a gap in the middle, and then from 1 to infinity again. Again, don't freak. We're going to talk about these key points in a second so that you can kind of organize them all in your head. A is not an amplitude, but it does stretch the graph out, so it can tell you where this maximum is and where the minimum is. So when A is just a 1, these minimums are going to be at 1, these maximums are going to be at negative 1. But those will move around depending on what A is. And the period is back to 2 pi over b. Now I'm going to skip a couple pages here, and I want to show you a little graphic here, and I discussed this with sine and cosine, but I want to do it with the rest also. So one of the problems you may find yourself having is when you're graphing these functions, what points am I going to start out with? Okay. Well, remember, if you just draw a picture of a unit circle on your paper, you'll get used to this, okay? For sine and cosine, remember, sine on the unit circle is the y value and cosine is the x value. I'm going to say theta here. So as I look for points on the sine graph, if I have an angle of 0, the point is 0. I'm going to put that one here. But I want a 0, a -1, and a +1. So if I go to negative pi over 2, the y value is -1. I can use that for one of my starting points, and that's what we used in the last lesson. If I go to pi over 2, I get 1. So 3 consecutive points. You can do it without using the -1, but you got to be careful. People tend to oscillate then between the midpoint and the maximum, and they never get down to the min. So it's nice to start out with one of each and that they're all consecutive. Now cosine is the x value, so 0 gives you 1. Pi over 2 gives you 0. And pi gives you -1. And you have your 3 points. For tangent, now we got a little weird situation. Remember, tangent is y over x, whereas cotangent is x over y. So y over x. So if I have an angle of 0, it's going to give me 0 over 1, which is also 0. So tangent goes through the origin. It's a cubic. If I look back, it's a cubic that goes right through the origin, 0, 0. We can see that right there. Okay? Now, if I go over to pi over 2, too far, if I go to pi over 2, now I get 1 over 0. See that? Y over x is 1 over 0. That's undefined. So it's not a point at all. We're going to have instead an asymptote at x equals pi over 2. And then what's going to happen at pi? Well, pi is going to be 0 over -1. We're back to 0 again. So tangent and cotangent are actually easy. They just oscillate between zeros and asymptote. 0, asymptote, 0, asymptote. And cotangent is just flipped around. If tangent has a 0 here, then cotangent will have an asymptote. Tangent has an asymptote, cotangent will have a 0, and so on. Now secant and cosecant are the reciprocals of sine and cosine, as you know. Move this out of here. So secant, if sine goes through negative pi over 2 -1, then so secant, because the reciprocal of -1 is still -1. However, the reciprocal of this y value, 0, is undefined. So secant will have, oh shoot, I screwed them up. Time out. I didn't put them in that order. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. Sorry about that. So cosecant will be negative pi over 2, -1. Since sine has a 0 at 0, cosecant will be undefined there. That's how I realized I was wrong. I know secant doesn't have an asymptote at 0. And then at pi over 2, if sine is 1, then so is cosecant, because the reciprocal of 1 is 1. And then we can do the same thing for cosine that you had earlier. Secant, if cosine of 0 is 1, then secant of 0 is the reciprocal of 1, which is still 1. Cosine equals 0 at pi over 2, then secant will have an asymptote at pi over 2. And then cosine has a point at pi -1. Well, since the reciprocal of -1 is still -1, we have those. So these are the points you're going to use, which if you try to memorize, you'll forget. So a good way is to use this unit circle, and it makes it easier to find them. Okay? Let's graph some. So graph at least one cycle of each function. A lot of times I'll graph more than that just because it's easy to do so, but we'll try at least that, okay? All right, so starting off, we have y equals 2 times the cosecant of 1/3 x. So obviously our parent function here would be cosecant of x. Now it's the reciprocal of sine. So sine, remember, instead it's the only one we don't like to start with 0. We'd like to go to negative pi over 2, -1. But then sine goes through the origin, so cosecant will have an asymptote at 0, and then goes up to pi over 2, 1. So the same points as sine, except instead of wherever sine has a 0, this will have an asymptote. They're multiplying x by 1/3, so we'll divide by 1/3, which is multiplying by 3. They're multiplying outside by 2, so we shall do that also. And let's find out where we are. Multiply negative pi over 2 times 3, you'll get -3 pi over 2. 0 times 3 is still 0. Pi over 2 times 3 is 3 pi over 2. How about the y values? 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 2 times 1 is 2. I am going to use a scale of 3 pi over 2 here. You can use a scale of pi. Actually, because my points are so close together, I'm going to use pi over 2 instead. Otherwise, my graph is going to look really squishy. So negative 3 pi over 2, 1, 2, 3, negative 2. 0 is an asymptote. I'm going to have to cheat for that one. Let me get myself a dashed line here. And let's try that. So x equals 0, so right on the y-axis. And of course I missed it. Let me see if I can move it a little. Probably I'll move the whole graph. Oh no, I did good. Okay, and then 3 pi over 2, 2. So 3 pi over 2, 2. Now, we went from a negative 2 to an asymptote to a positive 2. So 3 more lines over, we'll be back at 1, 2, 3, another asymptote. And then we will go back to 3 lines later, a negative 2. And then another asymptote. And again, I'm graphing further than it told me to, but just so you can see the pattern. And in this direction, 1, 2, 3 over, there's another asymptote there. And it's not crooked, it's vertical. Yeah. There we go. This is just not cooperating. Well, pretend it's right on there. I don't, it's not that big a deal. So here we go. We've got what it looks like a parabola down. Again, it's not a parabola, but it sure looks like one. A U-shaped curve. And again, it's not a parabola because parabolas aren't bound by asymptotes. They spread out forever. But it would kind of look like that. Okay? And again, you could graph this on your calculator just to make sure that it's correct, and I recommend you do so when you have your own time. Okay? All right, here's a cotangent graph. So cotangent, let's see. Cotangent, if I put in 0, I'm going to get an asymptote. Now again, why is that? Because 0 radians would go through 1, 0, and cotangent is x over y. That's undefined. At pi over 2, since this is an asymptote, pi over 2 is going to be a 0, and then pi will be back to an asymptote. Okay? A lot of people remember, oh, cotangent has an O in it. That's going to have an asymptote at x equals 0. Cosecant, the word at least, has an O in it. Has an asymptote at 0. They put the 0 and the O's together. It's not a bad idea. Inside they're multiplying by 2, so I'm going to divide by 2. Outside they're multiplying by a negative a half and adding 1. So let's do these things real quick before I run out of time. A half times 0 is still 0. Pi over 2 times a half is pi over 4. Pi times a half is pi over 2. Now the y values, there only is one y value. Negative a half times 0 is still 0, plus 1 is 1. Now, when you're graphing sine and cosine, you got to be careful of something here. Let me graph these asymptotes. I'm going to use a scale of pi over 4 here, because I have 0, 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4. I'm going to graph these asymptotes at 0, 1 pi over 2, 2 pi over 4. So those are my asymptotes. And again, geez, I'm just wasting time. Move that over a little bit. And pi over 4, 1. So the graph got shifted up 1. Now, pay careful attention. It's a negative cotangent graph. A cotangent graph is usually negative cubics, but since it's multiplied by a negative, it's going to be positive cubics. It's actually going to look like a tangent graph. So it's going to be a little positive cubic. So tangent and negative cotangent look very similar. Okay, I could draw another asymptote here and another cubic as well. And we'll pick this up in the next video.